Forget the 5-day work week. Australia's bosses have given up on trying to get their staff back in the office full time. They seem to be accepting 3 days in person as the new normal. Joining us live with more now is Eric Johnston. He's the Associate Editor at the Australian newspaper. Eric, good to see you. Thanks for your time. I see you've been speaking with some of Australia's biggest bosses about the approach that they're really taking to their employees' requests to work from home. What's the trend?
Yeah, that's right, Ash, and you certainly hit the nail on the head. So 3 days is now the new 5-day week. And what we've seen since COVID, obviously, when everyone was sent back home and we all got used to working from home and doing things on an online and digital way, we got used to that once the pandemic moved on. And when it was time to come back to the office, well, we've already established our habits there. And what we've seen, though, and we do an annual survey with CEOs, and this year we spoke to, in depth, more than 70 CEOs, and just about how their approach is shifting towards working from home. So Australian companies, like companies around the world, have accepted working from home is here to stay in some form or another. But bosses do want to see staff back in the office more often. This is important, they say. All the evidence points to productivity. It builds teamwork. It's good for culture. And most importantly, for younger staff, it really helps for career development. So with that, where bosses have been settling on over the past year is getting staff and putting some sort of structure about the return to the office. And that's where settling on the 3-day has turned into a nice compromise.
Yeah, and it is a compromise, isn't it? Because I guess when it comes down to it, CEOs really need to offer that flexibility in order to recruit good talent, because as you point out, people are getting pretty used to this scenario. So bosses may not be thrilled about it, but they're just having to accept it, right?
Yeah, and that's right. It is the bigger issue around it is the war for talent. So the reality is we have a really, really tight jobs market at the moment. And surprisingly, that's stayed, even though that interest rates have been increasing and are really high, at more than decade-long highs. So the job market has remained tight, and bosses are losing that arm wrestle, so to speak, about that. So with that, they don't want to lose their good staff. They don't want to see their best staff walk across the road where conditions might be a bit more flexible. So that's where the compromise is. It's interesting, though, some of the feedback we've had from companies. So, for example, ANZ, big bank, lots of Australian employees, they're saying, okay, 50% of all your work time is going to be in the office. So it's not prescriptive about a week. So you might be able to do 1 week on, 1 week off, and so on. Commonwealth Bank, however, has gone a little bit tighter. They're saying 50% of your time per month. So you can start seeing that. One company, Insignia Financial, which owns the MLC, they're talking about 40% of workers' time per week. So I'm not sure if that's really 3 or 2 days, but anyway, I'm sure that they've settled on that.
And so, Eric, more broadly, how are those CEOs feeling generally about the economy in 2024? Did you sense much optimism out there about the year ahead?
Yeah, it really, and the word that kept repeating itself was resilience, and that's resilience of the Australian economy as we leave what has been a pretty torrid 2023 and enter into 2024. So where we are at the moment, we see that interest rates are either at their peak or very much, if there is one more rate rise, that'll happen early next year. Many are divided. Some say, look, that's it for rate rises. Others are forecasting potentially another rate rise early next year. But within that, what's more important for them is the fact that the rate outlook, so the outlook for interest rates, is actually stabilising. It's stabilising. And also what we're seeing overseas now, we're seeing a lot more talk in the United States about the interest rates potentially coming down early next year. So with that provides a real stability for outlook. And none of the CEOs were expecting a recession to hit Australia next year, which is good news. They are cautious still. They are preparing for a slowdown in the economy. The next 6 months will be critical. However, once we pass through that phase, their optimism will start to rebuild again.
Eric Johnson, appreciate your analysis. Thanks so much.
Good on you. Thanks, Ash.